In the recent times, the crimes against women have been on a tremendous rise. We all have been discussing about various solutions we have to tackle this menace. But the fundamental question remains as to what is the root cause of all of this. A certain section of the society blames it totally upon the women, saying the way they dress, the way they walk, talk, the way they interact with people, the way they're staying outside their homes late at night, the way they're not staying indoors, and so on. Well, I personally believe that this section of the society has completely forgotten the enormous atrocities inflicted upon women within the four walls of their homes in the form of domestic violence, marital rape, sexual harassment by a family member, or even raping of as young as a 5 month old baby girl. So, definitely, this argument stands completely baseless and nonsensical. What I personally believe, there is one root cause and there are two permanent solutions to this problem. The root cause is a complete lack as well as neglect of spiritual education in society at present. Well, when we hear the word spirituality, this corrupted picture comes in our mind of a person leaving everything and going off to Himalayas or the forest or becoming a sadhu and or a baba. Well, spirituality in essence means a complete understanding of one's own true self. In other words, a user manual. Imagine you have a very complex machinery in your hand, but you decide not to go through its user manual. So, how do you think it will function? Definitely not efficiently, but just accidentally. The same thing is happening with all of us at present. If you look around us, the education system we have, it is only based on physical as well as mental and intellectual dimensions of life, nothing beyond it. Well, somebody might argue that in universities there are courses of philosophy where you read multiple scriptures, so definitely that is a spiritual knowledge. Well, in reality, what philosophy is being taught in universities around the globe is nothing but a set of 100 odd contradictory theories. There is nothing about the basic spiritual education anywhere in the world. If we ask ourselves where in a society are these spiritual educations being taught, the clear answer is a handful of spiritual organizations, which accounts to about 4 to 6% of the entire population. Now, imagine a user manual which must be available or which must be with each and every person is only available and only being taught to 4 to 6% of population, which means the rest 94 to 96% of population is completely ignorant about their own existence. And in spite of this reality, we expect in such a situation that the whole society shall be peaceful, loving, friendly, and no crimes at all. That's complete joke. So this is a root cause. In the ancient times, there was a system called Gurukul, where a person for the first 25 years of his life was under the guidance of a guru. Under that guru's guidance, the guru will impart spiritual knowledge as well as basic elementary material knowledge in order to equip the person to lead a blissful life post Gurukul. That system has gone completely. Whatever we have in the form of education is simply money making businesses. So, this is what the root cause of all the problems, including the atrocities and crimes against women, is. Now, what is the solution to this? Well, I personally firmly believe, that there are two permanent solutions to this problem. The first solution is we have to implement and we have to impart spiritual knowledge, spiritual education at all forms of life. It is often said charity begins at home, and so is true with this topic. In today's life, we are so busy, we are so caught up in our fast paced life, that there is no scope for any spiritual talks taking place between the family members. Quite many decades ago, when we had our grandparents, they used to tell their grandchildren certain spiritual talks they used to have in the form of stories or fairy tales and all of that. Now, we have to understand, the first 14 to 15 years of a person's life, whatever a person learns in these 14, 15 years, that forms the basis, the foundation of his or her character. And that is what this needs to be done. The spiritual education has to be imparted from home, and when the child goes to school, there should be the same thing applicable in school as well. If the first 14, 15 years a child is imparted the very basic fundamental spiritual education, well, we cannot imagine what a great life that person will lead afterwards. Now, what is that spiritual education? Well, the spiritual education, what we are referring to, is just this basic thing, that we or I, what we refer to as me, you, or I, is not just this physical body. We are a spiritual living entity. That spiritual living entity is all which makes a difference between a alive person and a dead person. Now, this is a very fundamental thing, because we don't know about our own selves. So, definitely, when you don't know about your own self, whatever things, whatever planning and schemes you're going to make is only in the terms of something which you are not, and you expect to live blissfully and peacefully. That's impossible. So, the first permanent solution is to start implementing spiritual education from home up till the school levels. Now, the second permanent solution, along with this, is to have a very strong and quick judicial system in the society. Well, you might ask me this question, that if we are going to impart spiritual education, then everybody will be spiritually educated. Then why do you need to have a strong judicial system? Because there will be no crimes. Well, yes, but that is a hypothetical situation. The reality is, since eternity till eternity, there always has and always existed this format of good and bad in the society. So, after we implement the spiritual education compulsory at all levels of life, 90% of population will live blissfully. That's no doubt about that. But 10% will always have been and will always be that section of the society which does not care about whatever good they have been taught. They'll just like to go off the track and do whatever evil and heinous things they want to do. So, for these 10% of the society, we definitely need a strong and quick judicial system. Now, recently, when the Hyderabad police encountered the four rapists in the of the 26-year-old vet doctor's case, the long 7-year still going on Nirbhaya's case, the Nirbhaya's mother demanded the same justice for her daughter also. That is very natural because the judicial system is inhumanly slow in this society. So, these two permanent solutions, the day we start implementing these two, we cannot imagine within a span of few years what a great, rather the greatest of the society we will witness around us. And we will experience what this land called Bharat, India, has always been referred to as spiritual master of the world, Vishwa Jagat Guru, Adhyatma Jagat Guru. This is what our reality of India is. So, this treasure of spiritual treasure which we have neglected, the day we bring it back and the day we start implementing these two permanent solutions, the whole life, the whole situation, the whole society will tremendously increase within the span of few years.